Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. We have a very busy next 2 days. This is our last week of class. So I want you all to take out your ed planning sheets that we started last Wednesday. So your final project, your student educational plan, we started on the sheets. Remember, we worked on putting down your major prep courses. So I want you to take that out now, because we're going to continue working on your project. The more you get done in class with me, the easier it's going to make your life. I'm just getting all the students in. Okay. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes while students come in. So those of you just coming in, we are pulling out our educational planning sheets. Let me remind you what it looks like. This is what you're doing your final project on, the student education plan. Last week, we worked on filling out the top part and the major part, and I advised you all to complete that part by today so that we can move on to the next parts, because we still need to do general education, and then we need to do part 2 and part 3. So we're going to be finishing that up today and Wednesday. Whatever you don't finish, you'll have to, in class, you'll have to finish on your own time for homework. Before we get into that discussion, I want to just review what the week 8 module looks like. Again, this is your final week of class. I won't see you after Wednesday. If we go to our week 8 module, let me let a couple more students in. We have, as usual, you start with your to-do list. There's readings here. They're going to help you with your assignment. You'll go through the objectives on your own. We're going to be finishing up your educational plan this week. If we have time, we're going to talk about self-care, but I want to see how long it takes for us to complete your ed plan, and I want to assist you as much as possible, so that we make sure to get through. On that last page, I did post last week's lecture on Wednesday, so if you missed it, that's where we went over the first part of the ed plan that we're working on, the educational plan. So you can review that lecture within this week's module if you need help completing that first part from last Wednesday. These sheets here we're going to be talking about today, general education sheets, and you're going to be using them for the next part of the assignment. So we'll come back to this. I have, again, the instructions for your student educational plan, and on the page after is where you're going to be submitting it. And there's a rubric showing you exactly how to get the full points for your student education plan, which we're going to continue working on today. And I wanted to show you this extra credit opportunity. So for those of you, I advise you to check your grades in the class. If there's some assignments that you missed and you could benefit from extra credit, I would definitely consider doing this extra credit. It's a win-win. It's super easy. Basically, these are 2 financial aid websites, scholarship websites that when you go to them, you're going to create an account for the purpose of extra credit, but also this is going to help you. You sign up and you make an account. You create a profile, and it's going to link you to thousands of scholarships that you're eligible for. Some of them are as easy as putting your name in a hat. Some of them you have to write an essay for. It's good to start on this early on, looking at scholarships for college, because that's free money for college. So the earlier you do it, the better. Luis is asking about, do we do both parts? Are you talking about the extra credit? So it's up to you. You can do both. And if you do both correctly, you get 40 points. If you just do one, you do 20 points. So to get the full points for extra credit, you create an account with fastweb.com. Once you create your account, you take a screenshot that shows you're logged in with your account. And then you upload a screenshot into the submission box. Same with this one, unigo.com. You create an account, you take a screenshot showing that you're signed in, and you submit that screenshot. If you do both, you get 40 points. I need to update this date. It's not due June 6th. Let me change that right now. It is due December 19th. So you'll have until Sunday by 11:59 p.m. to submit the extra credit. Even though your ed plan is going to be due Friday night, I am allowing you to have until Sunday night to submit the extra credit if you want to. So the extra credit is not mandatory, it's optional. And it's totally up to you. Any questions about the extra credit? Or any questions about what we started on Wednesday with our ed planning sheets? Remember, we selected our major, what our educational goal was. We entered our major courses, how many units they were, and if they had prerequisites or not. As a reminder, what is a prerequisite? Who remembers what a prerequisite is? And you can write it in the chat. No one remembers? Well, it's important because you're going to need to know that information for your ed plan. So give it a go, give it a guess. Who wants to guess what a prerequisite is? Okay. No takers. Let's see. So thank you for trying, Daniela. Required classes. So a prerequisite is a required class that you need to take before another class. So for instance, when we, in our example from the ed planning sheets, when we looked at the course descriptions in the college catalog, we did find that Accounting 1 was a prerequisite to Accounting 2, which means that we need to take Accounting 1 before we can take Accounting 2. And where do we find the information of prerequisites, or if a course has a prerequisite and what that prerequisite is? Where do we find that information? This is important because you all need to put this into your project. Remember, this is worth 100 points. That's a big chunk of your grade. So if you don't do the assignment or you don't do it fully, you risk losing a lot of points. And so the more that you pay attention in class with me, the easier it's going to make your life and ensure that you can pass this assignment. So if I need to find if a course has a prerequisite or not, where should I look? What did we look at last week to figure that out? Where do we find course descriptions for at LA Mission College? No one knows? The college catalog. Thank you, Daniela, for trying. So assist.org is to see what major prep you need to transfer for UCs or Cal States. But to read a course description, we have to look at the LA Mission College catalog. So we'll come back to that today. Okay, so before we move on to the next area, any questions about this section? You should have put if either whether these classes have prerequisites or not, and what the prerequisite is, and then let's see. Then we want to know how many major units there are. So for my major, for this major in particular, I'd have 10, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so 25, 30, 34 units for my major. So you've calculated your major units, you've written down your major classes and the prerequisites. Any questions before we move forward? Take advantage now of asking questions. This is due on Friday, so you have 5 days to complete all these parts, and that's just part of part 1. Okay, if you think of a question, we will come back to it. So I'm going to continue the lecture. Okay. So we talked about prerequisites. So on Wednesday, you filled out your major courses, the name and number of the course, the title of the course, how many units, and if they have prerequisites or not. So Jocelyn, we're not using cell phones in class unless we are doing our project. Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not there with you guys, so I can't be more adamant about not using cell phones in class, but that's not allowed. Thank you. Unless you're using it for your project and looking at Canvas. Okay. And then you're totaling your major units. All right, so now we're going to talk about general education. So general education is for degrees only and if you want to transfer. General education are courses from different disciplines that you need to complete, whether you're getting an associate's degree or you're going to transfer. So we call them GEs, sometimes they're called core courses, sometimes they're called breadth courses. So the point of taking general education courses is that you are learning from different viewpoints, becoming truly educated, and that you're getting knowledge in all these different disciplines aside from classes in your major. So it's a really good opportunity to learn about different subjects that you're interested in, but don't necessarily want to major in. So let's talk about the types of GE pattern you should use. So these I've put into your Canvas, so we'll review them again. So IGETC is the GE pattern you're going to use for UCs, Cal States, and a few other schools. So if you're doing this project and you're using a UC or a Cal State, you're going to be using IGETC. For CSU, if you know you only want to transfer to a Cal State, then you can use a CSU GE. Private schools will have their own GE pattern. And LA Mission College, if you're only getting an associate's degree and you're not going to transfer, you would use the LAMC GE pattern. If you want to get an associate's degree and transfer, then you can use IGETC or the CSU GE. So right now I want you guys to think about what you're putting down on your project and which general education pattern you're going to use. So if I'm interested in transferring to CSUN for business administration, and I know I'm only going to apply to other Cal States, which general education pattern should I use? And please put it in the chat. So I can see that you guys are talking while I'm talking, and it's really not going to benefit you. And I can just stop teaching now. It's really disrespectful. I can see you on camera. So either pay attention, or if you're not going to pay attention, turn your camera off, because that's just not going to work for me today. Thank you. So if I'm going to transfer to a Cal State only, which GE pattern should I use? And you can put it in the chat. If I'm going only to transfer to Cal States, if I'm only going to apply to Cal States, which GE pattern should we use? Wow, we're asleep today. What's going on, guys? We're almost done. I know it's the last week of school. You guys are probably checked out. Yes, Jacqueline, good job. CSU GE. So if I'm only going to apply to CSUs, then I would use a CSU GE. What if I'm not sure? I want to apply to maybe UCLA, UC Irvine, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and Otis College. Which general education pattern should I use? IGETC, good job, Axel. Thank you. Yes, so IGETC is used if you're going to have a variety of goals in terms of universities. You want to use IGETC, or if you're undecided, you're not sure what you want to do, I would definitely use IGETC, because that's going to help you get an associate's degree. It's going to help you transfer to a UC, a Cal State, and some other schools. What if I only want to get an associate's degree in interior design at LA Mission College? Which GE pattern should I use? So yes, good try, Monica. Yeah, we're going to use the LA Mission College GE pattern. Yes. So if I'm only getting an associate's degree and have no intention of transferring, then we're going to use that college's GE pattern, which in this case is LA Mission College. So hopefully by now you've all decided which GE pattern you're going to use. Like I said, for the purposes of this assignment, It will be easier if you don't use a private school, but again, like I said, if you are going to use a private university, reach out to me to make office hour appointments so that we can work on it together because it's a little bit more confusing. So you've either chosen IGETC, CSU GE, or LA Mission College GE, depending on your educational goal. Any questions about that, of which GE pattern you're going to be using for this assignment? And you can write your question in the chat. Okay, no questions so far. So what if you want to transfer and have an AA? You'll need to know both requirements. So you're going to be picking courses for both requirements when possible. And we're going to be doing something called double counting, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Let me stop share for a second. So on your ed plan sheet, everyone should have this out. You're now selecting which general education pattern you're going to use based on your goal. So even though I'm doing this for CSUN, I know in my head that I want to apply to some UCs as well. So I'm going to use IGETC. Or like I said, if you're undecided, use IGETC. If you're doing UCs and Cal States, IGETC. If you're doing only UCs, you have to do IGETC. If you're doing only Cal States, and the reason why I say plural is that when you do go to apply to colleges, whether you're a transfer student or applying straight from high school, you want to have options. You want to apply for at least 3 to 5 schools so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And if I only wanted to get an associate's degree, I would put AA. So you've selected one of these on top so far. So once you complete your major courses and your general education courses, we have to see if those amount to 60 units. If they don't amount to 60 units, then you need to take some classes called electives. The electives are courses for units only. It's not for the major, it's not for GE. So say you're taking major courses and GE courses and they equal up to 45 units. That means I still need 15 units at least to get to 60 so I can transfer. So that means I would need 15 elective units to fill in that gap. So let's stop share for a second. Now that you've selected which GE pattern you're going to use, you want to go back to your Canvas module to our week 8. And you see I've listed the 3 GE patterns. I'm going to teach you how to read one of these GE patterns because you're going to need to take information from these and put them into your educational plan. And please, please, please ask me questions if you have questions along the way. So I'm going to use IGETC, and this is how we read these GE patterns. Since I'm going over IGETC right now, it might be easiest for you to choose IGETC for your project. Okay, so the way that we read this, we're going to need to be taking courses from all these areas, but we need to see specifically what types of courses. If I'm attending a Cal State, 3 courses are required, 1 each from area 1A, 1B, and 1C. If I'm interested in a UC, 2 courses are required, 1 each from area 1A and 1B. So basically for a Cal State, I need all 3 of these courses. For a UC, I only need these 2 because Cal States are the only ones that require oral communication as a course to be a transfer student. So I would need English 101. I would choose one of these courses. So I'm going to choose English 102, and my project's based on a Cal State, so I need one of these. So I'm going to do Communication Studies 101. Once I have that information of these courses, that's at least just the first area. I need to go back to my ed plan, and I need to write the courses from that area. So it's area 1 is what we're doing so far. This is area 1A. And you'll be looking at both the IGETC and your ed plan sheet on your screen together, so it's a little bit easier. Unfortunately, I can only show you one or the other. So I'm doing English 101. 1B, I'm doing English 102. And 1C, I'm doing communication studies. So most of yours are going to look like this, especially if you're doing a Cal State. Again, if you're just doing a UC, you don't need communication studies. So everyone should have an English 101 and English 102 or one of those classes from 1B listed. Also, if you're getting an associate's degree and also planning on transfer, it's going to be the same thing. I'll take you through each GE pattern so you're recognizing the differences. Okay, so that's area 1. Then I want to see, what do I need from area 2? It says 1 course, 3 semester units. So that means I need 1 math course to complete my area 2A. Well, if I look, and this will happen for some of you will have majors that have math classes already. Some of you won't. For those of you that don't have math in your major, you're still going to have to take at least 1 math class. For those of you that do have math in your major, you might have to take more than 1, like I would have to. But so I know that I can double count my major course as also a GE course. So that's what double counting means. It means being able to count a course not only for a major requirement, but also a general education requirement. So I know that I can put in Math 227 to fulfill my area 2A. And also I should be putting the units for each of these classes. If you're ever not sure how many units a class is, you can check in the course descriptions in the LA Mission College catalog. Any questions so far? Okay. Then I go back and I look at IGETC and I look at the next part. From area 3, arts and humanities, I need at least 3 courses with at least 1 from the arts and 1 from the humanities. So that means I need 3 classes total from this, and I need at least 1 from the arts and 1 from humanities. So I could do 2 arts classes and 1 humanities course, or 1 arts class and 2 humanities courses. So I think, and this is when you're actually in college, you get to have fun choosing what classes actually interest you. And that's the benefit of knowing how to look up course descriptions to see what do I actually want to learn about. So I know for me, I think I'm interested, I want to do dance studies 805, theater 100, and humanities 1. Again, you guys can choose any variation, any combination of courses, as long as you're getting at least 1 from each group and 3 total. So then I'm going to go over to my ed plan sheet. And I'm going to put area 3A. I'm going to do dance studies 805. I'm going to do another class from 3A, and I'm going to do theater 100. And then I need 1 at least from humanities. So I'm going to do area 3B, and I'm going to do humanities 1. Now, almost all these classes on the GE sheet, except for math and science classes, are 3 units. So the math and science classes are more units, and the foreign language as well, but most of the other classes are 3 units. Okay. So this is what you'll need to be doing depending on the GE pattern you choose. You're going to be going through it and checking exactly what you need by reading in the gray area, what you need from each section, and then choosing the courses and then writing them in the ed planning sheet. For area 4, it says at least 3 courses from at least 2 academic disciplines. So I need to choose 3 courses here. Well, now I see that I can double count more courses because I can see that for my major courses that I've listed on my ed planning sheet, Econ 1 and Econ 2 are listed there. And if I look here, I can see that, oh, there's those 2 classes are there. So I'm going to double count those courses, and I'm going to put those in. So that means I'm not going to be counting those units again, because we can't double count units. We can only double count the class. But just because I'm doing Econ 1 for my major, which is 3 units, I can't get another 3 units for my GEs. I'm just double counting the class as a requirement. So Econ 1 and Econ 2, I'm putting on my list. Then I need 1/3 course. So I'm going to do Sociology 1. Again, you can choose whichever one you want. So for some of you, again, some of your major courses will double count as GE courses. For some of you, they may not. So when I go back to my ed planning sheet, because I had Econ 1 and 2 here, I've put them down for GE courses, but I can't put them down for any units because I'm not going to double count the units. Same as the math course. We're almost through with the GE part. Any questions? Okay. So now I go to the next section in the GE section. And again, this is very similar to the CSU GE sheet. Area 5, Physical and Biological Sciences. So I need at least 2 courses with 1 from physical science and 1 from biological science. And one of them needs a lab component. So the lab components are all listed here. So basically I need to choose 1 from here and 1 from here. And one of those that I choose has to also be listed here showing that it has a lab. So I'm going to choose Oceanography 1. And then let me see, does Oceanography 1 here have a lab? No, it doesn't. So now I know that my biological science needs to have a lab. So I need to find one that's also listed here. So I see Bio 3 is listed with biological science and also has a lab. So I'm going to do that one. So Bio 3. For these, you might have to double check the units because, like I said, science classes and math classes tend to have more units. They're usually 4 or 5 units. So on my ed plan, I have I'm going to take Oceanography 1 to satisfy my 5A requirement and Biology 3 to satisfy Area 5B and 5C because it has a lab. Lastly, for the IGETC, Area 6 says language other than English. So if you want to go to a UC, you have to have there is a foreign language requirement. That can be made up a variety of ways. You can have taken an AP exam in a foreign language and gotten a 3 or higher, or you take a foreign language for 2 years of the same language and get a C- or higher both years. That will count as it. Or if not, if you don't do that, then you would be going up to a 2nd level of a foreign language in college. So I did 2 years of Spanish in high school. I got a B both years. So I don't need to take a foreign language requirement. So I'm not going to put anything for that one. This is all hypothetical, right? And that's all we would need to complete for IGETC on that part. Here it talks about the CSU graduation requirement. The CSUs have a graduation requirement that you complete a political science course and a US history course. You don't have to worry about this for the purpose of this project. I don't want to confuse you. So you don't have to worry about it. So you just go up to Area 6 if you're using IGETC. So my ed plan sheet should now look like this. I've listed the courses, what GE area they're covering, their units. If I'm double counting a course for my major, I'm not including the units. And now I need to go see, does each class have a prerequisite? So this is when I go back to the LA Mission College catalog and I look at, does English 101 have a prerequisite? If not, none. So I know off the top of my head that English 101 is not going to have a prerequisite. Everyone's going to start at English 101 or English 101 with a support class. So everyone can put none for English 101. Although I know there is a prerequisite for English 102, and it's that I complete English 101 first. So that means I can't go straight to English 102. I have to do English 101 first. Off the top of my head, I know the answers to these because this is my job. But what you'll need to do to double check is just a reminder is that you go to the LA Mission College catalog, which you can access from our Canvas module. So let's go to Student Resources, LA Mission College Catalog PDF. We can search course descriptions, we can download it. We can also search it on the web, which I'm just going to do for now because I could just download it, but that's going to take a little bit of time. And then I go to course descriptions to search for the prerequisites. Again, the importance of finding if a class has a prerequisite is to see if I have to take a class before I can take that class. So I already searched English, but say I wanted to see, okay, does communication studies have a prerequisite? So I would search Com 101, prerequisite, none. So I would write prerequisite. So that next step you guys would do, and I'm going to take a little break from talking so you can catch up, would be finding if these classes have prerequisites by comparing the course you wrote down and looking in the course description in the college catalog to see if it has a prerequisite. So let's take a few minutes to work on our project, and then we're going to come back together. So I'm going to complete the prerequisite part as you guys are doing it as well. So again, I'm getting this information. So here's a good example. When I searched for the math class to see if it has a prerequisite in the course catalog, has a variety of prerequisites. You can just put down one. Since it says or, just choose one for the point of the project. It's going to depend on what you place into for your math to see if you do have a prerequisite or not. We'll put that down for now. Then my next class I had listed was dance studies. 805. Let's go to page 95. Why is it doing that? Are there any questions so far as you're filling out your form? So as we're going through the catalog, we're putting if they have prerequisites or not. And if they do have a prerequisite, we're putting what it is. And then I'm counting up how many GE units I have. Remember, I'm not double counting the classes that I already have listed over here. So I'm just going to count the ones that are not. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 25, 29. So I have 29 GE courses. And you see it auto-fills it for you, the total of your major and GE courses. So based on my major courses and the GE courses I selected, I'm up to 63. So that means for transfer and for an associate degree, I'm good to go in terms of units. Because remember, I need a minimum of 60 units for an associate's degree or to transfer. So for me personally, with this plan, I wouldn't need to take any electives. There might be other classes I need to take for some schools that I'm interested in. That's something that you would discuss with a transfer counselor. Any questions about this first page? Because we're going to move forward because I want to make sure that we go through all the lecture, and then whatever time we have today and Wednesday, there'll be extra time for you to work on it. Any questions about this first section before we move forward? I'll give you guys a couple minutes to think about any questions you have. No questions? Okay. Let's move forward then. Okay, so this is part 2 of the ed planning process. So review from last session, we figured out how many units we're taking from our major. You guys are working on your general eds and seeing how many units that adds up to. This is important to note. If you're using IGETC to the general ed pattern for both UCs and Cal States, you need to have a C in the course for it to be acceptable, a minimum of a C. For Cal State GE, if you're only applying to Cal States, they will accept a D for the courses, except for your English classes, communication studies, and math. Those you have to have a C or higher, but for the other courses, they will accept a D. And private schools, it depends on the school. So we just reviewed in IGETC what the categories are in IGETC in terms of there's your English, your arts and humanities, quantitative reasoning, social and behavioral sciences, and your science section. And we looked at how many courses and units are needed in each category. So let's do a quick quiz. How many courses do you need for IGETC Area 4? So let's look at IGETC Area 4 again. If we look at IGETC and we're looking for Area 4, so we're looking at the gray area, how many courses do we need from IGETC Area 4, as it states here in the top? And put it in the chat. How many courses do I need from IGETC Area 4 to complete that section? What does it state there? Let's see if there's stuff in the chat. Yes, good job, Jacqueline, Lauren, Axel. 3 classes, very good. Very good. Now let's look at the CSU-GE. So what can you take for CSU-GE Area E? So say I want to use the CSU-GE. If we go back to our module, IGETC is here. If I click on next, this is all in the week 8 module. We have the CSU-GE pattern. So it's very similar to IGETC, so I'll do a quick little run through. Area A, you need 3 courses for CSU, the Communication Studies, English 101, and 1 Critical Thinking course. Remember to know how many courses I need. I'm looking at that gray section, right? For Scientific Inquiry and Quantitative Reasoning, I need, just like I get C, I need one physical science, I need one life science, and one of them needs a lab that are listed here. And I need one math class, same as I get C. For area C, arts and humanities, same as I get C, I need 3 courses total with at least one from each section. So one from arts, one from humanities, and the third one can be from either. Area D, I need 3 courses from area D. And area E is lifelong learning and self-development. I need 1 3-unit course or 3 1-unit courses. So that question that I just had on the PowerPoint says, what class could I take? Well, I could do Psych 1, I could do a child development class, kinesiology major. So all of these courses on the bottom are 1-unit kinesiology classes or like PE classes. These are all 3-unit courses. So I just need 1 from area E. So this is the CSUGE sheet. So it's almost identical to IGETC, except for some of the class offerings are different. And it also has this area E lifelong learning section that's not on IGETC. Any questions about the CSUGE? Okay. And then let's just look at, say you're thinking about only getting an associate's degree and not transferring. Then you can use the LA Mission College GE pattern. The way to read this one is it's going to say how many units you need. So if it says 3 semester units, I know I just need 1 class from natural sciences. 6 semester units means I need 2 classes from social and behavioral sciences. 3 semester units, I need 1 class from humanities. 6 semester units, I need 1 English composition class from D1 and 1 communication and analytical thinking class. And then I need 3 semester units from health and physical education, so 1 class, or 3 1-unit activity courses. I would recommend that you guys use IGETC because that's gonna help you be able to get an associate's degree and be able to transfer to a variety of schools. And so it's really good starting out as a student if you know you wanna get a degree or you wanna transfer, but you're not sure what you wanna do, to definitely use IGETC, which is the first GE pattern that we went through thoroughly, because that's going to hit all those marks for you. Any questions about the different GE patterns or anything about what we've done so far? I know it's a lot of information, and I appreciate you all bearing with me. Okay. If there's no questions yet. So double counting we talked about, using 1 course for different requirements, for GE requirements and for major requirements. That's double counting, right? If you're able to use a class like that. For my particular example, I was able to use my econ courses for my major and for my GE requirements for social and behavioral sciences. It can also mean that you're using a class for 2 areas on a general education pattern, or you're using them both for transfer and an associate's degree. So for example, the courses that I'm using for my major for CSUN are also going to work towards my business administration associate's degree. As I mentioned, you can't double count the units, but you can double count the course for the different requirements. Before we go on, is anything not clear? How are we feeling so far? Are you guys able to understand what you have to do so far? Any questions, anything that's not clear? I'm here to help. I want you guys to all do well on this assignment. Okay, if you think of questions, let me know. Okay, let me see. I think there might be something in the chat. Okay, good question, Jasmine. Can you explain how we find the prerequisite again? Yes, of course. Okay, so for the prerequisite part. So the first part is I'm looking at the courses I've put for the major and for the GE part. And then I need to find, do these classes have prerequisites? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the LA Mission College catalog. Right now, I'm just searching it on the website, but you guys can download it from Canvas to your desktop to search it as well. So I go to the college catalog. Let me share my screen again. And I want to look at the course descriptions. So the course descriptions I've listed, let me see, I believe in your reading for this week, I've listed the pages of the course descriptions. Let me double check. So course descriptions start on page 71 of the college catalog, and they're in alphabetical order. So say I wanted to see, does English 102 have a prerequisite? So it depends on the device you're using. I like to use Command F when I'm looking at either the PDF online or on my device. If you go Command F on your keyboard, a little search bar will come up. So you can search course descriptions, or you can search the class itself. So here it will show you exactly where each class is described. Or I can search the class itself. I can put English 102. And I want to scroll to the part where it's the course description of English 102. So the course description is where you find if a class has a prerequisite. So here, I've gone to English 102's course description, and I see that it does have a prerequisite, and it's English 101. It says lecture 3 hours, which means that that's a 3-unit course. Does that make sense, Jasmine? I'll do another example. So say I want to see if Accounting 2 has a prerequisite. So I'm going to put in the course number. And I want to find the course description. I go through the course description, and it does say it has a prerequisite, which is Accounting 1. If it doesn't have prerequisite, it will say none, and you can just write none. So you're looking at the course descriptions in the LA Mission College catalog. Course descriptions start on page 71 and go all through to page 128, and they're alphabetical. Good question. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. You're welcome. Any other questions before we move forward? Okay, so this is what we've hopefully done today. We have checked on your ed plan sheet which GE plan you're using. For the GE area, you're writing the name of the area, A3 or 1A, 1B, 1C, as we did on the ed plan sheet. You're writing the course number and name. So when I was writing right now, I didn't write the name, so I would have to go back to the course descriptions to check the names, right? If there's no prerequisite, you're writing none. And you're writing the total GE units in 2 places and totaling all your units. So if we're looking at the ed plan sheet again, we're reviewing what we just completed a little while ago. So this is just the course number, right? I would have to write the name, which would be English composition. And the place I'm getting this information would be in the catalog in the course description. I would go through each course description and see what the title of the class is, so that I'm writing down the name of the class as well, so that it looks like this. I just didn't do that right now for the issues of time and making sure we get through everything today that we can. So you've checked off which plan, you put down the areas that you're fulfilling, with which classes, you're putting the course number and name, the amount of units, if they have a prerequisite or not. You've totaled up your GE units, and now you've totaled up all your units, including your major units and your GE units. Again, I'm going to be posting this lecture in the module. I posted last Wednesday's lecture in this module, so that if you didn't get through everything, because I know I'm going pretty quickly today, you can review it again, whether it's at home or in class. You can review it and make sure that you're following along. Okay. So we're going to be talking more about prerequisites because some courses have what's called sequences or paths. And usually you're going to see this in science classes and math classes. So depending on your major, you might have a lot of sequential courses that you need to take, meaning they have to go in order. And you can't skip to an advanced chemistry without completing those prerequisites. So it really comes down also to your major. The importance of realizing the prerequisites, and if you have sequential courses for your major, is to see how long is this goal of yours going to take, right? Because for some majors, you might not have those sequential courses, but for some you do. And you don't want to get discouraged saying, oh my gosh, I have all these classes, but it's more for you to plan out and have that plan and those goals set. So different classes that have sequences that we already talked about too. English is one, right? English 102, English 101 to English 102 or 103. Math courses have sequences depending on where you place in your math, or if you have a number of math classes you need to take for your major. Some other classes are like science classes. So the reason why we're going to talk about this is because we're going to complete part 2 of the ed planning sheet. So you don't know your placement score. So we're going to start with that minimum English or math class or science class. All courses, we're going to be writing down all courses that have prereqs and writing down the starting course and your target course. Target course means that last course you need to complete in that sequence. And then all the courses in between. So let's go to on your ed planning sheet. After you've completed, and you have to do this in order, because it's going to make it easier. So you've done this part, then major, GE. Now I'm scrolling down to the second page to part 2. And it's scrolling at a very slow pace. Okay, so here almost all of us are going to have a sequence, and now it won't stop scrolling. Okay, I'm going to let you do its thing. Okay. So almost all of us are going to have sequences for at least English, right? I know that I have to take English 101. So I'm starting with my starting course and my target course, because my major doesn't have any more English courses, but I know I do for my GE. My target course is English 102. That's the top course I'm trying to get to. And I know that because I completed this first part where it said English 101 and English 102, and that English 101 was a prerequisite. So I would put that. Then for my math, oh my goodness, this thing is freaking out. Now for me, for this major, I need statistics and I need calculus. So I would have to go and check in. Well, I know that statistics, I did check if it had a prerequisite, which is Math 125. I have to go back to the course descriptions and see, does Math 265 have a prerequisite? And how many prerequisites do I need to complete for that sequence? So first I'm going to do my stats. So Math 125, and my target course is Math 227. I know a target course is Math 265. So I have to see how many math classes do I need to take before I can get into calculus. So that's when I go again to our handy dandy college catalog. And I'm going to go to Math 265. It says prerequisite is Math 260 or 240 or 245. So let's say I want to do Math 260. I need to look, does Math 260 have a prerequisite? It does. It's Math 240. So then I need to go to Math 240. Does that have a prerequisite? And it does. It's Math 125. So that means, so that's how you would look at the sequences. You're kind of going back in time. So that means that to get to Math 265, I'm going to need to complete Math 125, and then Math 240, and then Math 260 to then get into Math 265. Not all of us will have these sequential courses. Again, it's going to depend on your major. Again, once you get to the college, you're going to be doing your math placement. It's possible that I place higher than Math 125 and I get to skip some of this, but for now, for the purpose of this assignment, we want to see. So I know that I would need to do 5 semesters of math, or 4, because I would need to do Math 125, Math 240, Math 260, Math 265, and Math 227. Any questions about looking up sequences for your prereqs? I'm going to continue here. I know that looking at what I've completed up here, another sequence I have is accounting 1 and 2. So I'm going to start with accounting 1 and my target course is accounting 2. Any questions about this part? And for me, for my major and my GE courses, I know that I'm done now writing all the prerequisite course sequences I need to. It's going to be different for each major. Some of you might not have any classes that with sequences except for your English and maybe some math. Some of you might have chemistry sequences or biology sequences or physics sequences, or maybe engineering classes, or perhaps cosmetology courses that have prerequisites. So it's different for everyone. Any questions about this part? So I'm not going to go any further. We have 3 more minutes, so I want you guys to take time working on your own and asking me questions. On Wednesday, we're going to finish up with completing part 3, which is going to be discussing how to actually plan out a semester, and you're going to be planning out 2 future semesters. So you can see what that looks like. And then we're going to be done with the class. So reminder that this week, what you're going to have due is this project due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. And if you want to do extra credit, that's going to be due on Sunday by 11:59 p.m. And I'm here if you have any questions for right now for the next 3 minutes that we're in class. And just a reminder, after this video loads, I will be posting it tonight to our module for this week so that if you want to review what I went over today, you will be able to so Miss Marshall, I put the extra credit due Sunday so that they have extra time if they want to. But the final project will be due Friday, and if they want to do the extra credit, it will be due Sunday night. Thank you. If you guys don't have any questions, have a good day, and I'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Okay.